everyone, welcome to today's podcast. Today we are going to discuss a very famous book by James Allen. The name of the book is As a Man Thinketh. It's a classic book on self-help genre, and it has influenced countless individuals to take charge of their thoughts. And Sayanta has actually very recently read this book, and he has agreed to give us his views about the book. So Sayanta, let's get into it. Let's go with the first question. So how do you interpret the central message of As the Man Thinketh, and what resonates with you personally?
Thank you, Som, for allowing me to discuss this book. So, as Som said, I read this book basically yesterday. And it was a small book, as I showed. It's like a thin book. You can read it at one go. But I really liked this book because they have a very special message. I knew this is a classic book, As a Man Thinketh, written by James Allen, and the central theme that this book says that no matter what is the consequence or circumstances that you are in today, it is if you backtrack it, like let's say you are in this situation or circumstances, if you actually see why you are in this situation, if you backtrack it, so at the core of it you will see that there is always one thought. So basically, whether it is a positive thing that is happening to your life, whether it is a negative thing, when you backtrack it, when you go back and see, there is a positive thought and a negative thought. So basically he's saying we are a sum of all the thoughts that we have in our mind, whatever we are in, how we are doing financially, work-wise, health-wise, spirituality, whatever it is a sum of all the thoughts that we have. It may look at the moment that it just happened, but even then, if you actually break it down and see what each components are, why it happened, you will see every component has a thought behind it. So that is the main core message that James Allen has said. And yes, so I actually agree with all the points that he said regarding this thought.
Okay, awesome. So basically what he's trying to say is every action is based on some thought, and if you harness positive thoughts, that would lead to positive actions. And if you harness negative thoughts, then that may lead to negative actions.
So
right?
basically it's like a cause and effect relationship.
Right. So thoughts are the cause and the actions are whatever happening is the effect, right?
Yes.
So that is some great points that's made by James Allen and that you mentioned. So Sayant, if I ask you, what are some examples from your own life or the lives of others that you know that illustrate the cause of this thought or this philosophy that shaping into reality? So have you experienced that in your real life or in the life of people that you know, that this is happening actually?
So I mean, from my life, I can say something like positive and some negative. Let me specifically say about one point which I remember right now. It happened because on the table tennis, I like to play that sport, and I had a inner wish for a long time that I wanted to, that I won the intra-college championship in my college undergrad, but I always wanted to get some prize at a inter-college level. So that actually, when I was in my first year, I had the thought, because that thought led to the desire. I wanted the desire, but somehow I was not getting the opportunity to be in the team when we went to represent the inter-college championship. And this opportunity came when I was in fourth year. And at that day, I was like very sick. I was in the bed. But when this opportunity came, if that thought was not in my mind, I was not able to actually come out of my bed. Basically, I was in that situation because my close friends who were in the hostel, they know, because I was not able to actually walk. But since this opportunity came that I had to travel to ISM Dhanbad, and that to in a local train with a lot of people at night, and I am very sick that day. Like the temperature was high, but since the desire was so strong, because of that thought, I just wanted to go. I was like, I will never get, because this is my fourth year. Last year I had to go and represent my college basically, and I want to see if I win this competition, because that was a desire so strong. And we went there, and after some time my illness and everything went away. I don't know how, but in the train everything just vanished. Like I was the guy who was not able to walk. He everything just ran out. I don't know what happened, and we went there, we played, and we became the runner-up that year. So that was a good achievement, and I can kind of relate it with this thought and action thing, because in other day, if it was not because of that, if I had never had that thought, never that desire would generate, I would never walk out of the bed. Because if they said there was a cricket competition, do you want to participate? I will for surely say no. I just cannot wake up. I cannot walk that day. So that is a, because any other competition I'm not going. Since it was table tennis competition, I had the thought I wanted to. So that is one point. Let's say something negative regarding health. Like I we because the book says, what the book says is, it's not whatever thought you have the action will follow. It's not like that. He said whatever thought you have and what you encourage, the thoughts you encourage, give priority. Basically any thought can come, right? But you need to prioritize some thought, encourage some thought. It's like flowering, it's like watering the flower in a garden. You are basically watering the flowers, because your weeds you're cutting out, weeds will also grow in that garden, right? But you cut out the weeds. It's not that wrong negative thoughts won't come. He's saying those thoughts, no need to encourage those thoughts, just see it, let it go. The right thoughts you need to uh, encourage it, and that will grow into desire, right action, right consequence, right circumstances. So as I was saying, of a negative thought, I never encouraged my health, and it was not because of that I neglected my, like, everyday going to gym or running. So because I never encouraged that thought that I need to have a good health, every, like, that why I never took those actions regularly, right? But now as I am growing old, I am thinking that, hey, I need to prioritize, I need to think positively, need to give encourage to this thought, because that's how you will get the consequence and the result. Because I never encourage that thought in my head. First it starts with that thought. Encourage it, talk about it in your mind with yourself. That's how the results will flow. So giving you wanted two examples, so just wanted to give two examples from both sides, positive, negative.
Okay, okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So, basically, what you're trying, like what you said, was for your table tennis tournament, in spite of being sick, because of that thought that you had of winning the tournament, that turned into desire, and that helped you. In spite of being sick, you were able to win the tournament, right? That was basically the power of that thought.
Hmm.
And for your health, since you did not prioritize that, since you never thought about it, you haven't, that didn't convert into action, and you haven't taken the necessary steps. But as you are thinking more, you are sure that more steps will follow, right? So that's a very good example, actually, on how powerful this philosophy is. So so if we move forward into some more topics that were discussed. So this book also emphasizes the importance of self discipline, right? And mindfulness, basically, in managing your thought, which you kind of glazed on in your previous answer. So let's move on to the next question. How does As a Man Thinketh highlight the importance of self discipline and mindfulness in managing one's thought?
So there's a very good question that Swam you asked. So what James Allen talks in this book is that we need to be aware of our thought pattern. Like we need to observe it. What kind of thoughts are generated? So basically, the more aware we are, we can choose the right kind of thoughts, because the right kind of thoughts will eventually give the right kind of results. And if you generate, like, if you see, as I said, it doesn't matter if you have some negative thought coming, just observe it and let it go. Do not encourage such kind of thoughts, because from thoughts, the more encourage you give to wrong kind of thoughts, later it will grow into desire. You will do some action, circumstances will follow, consequence will follow, and that will come, and it will grow out of a circumstance, because the more you do, it will turn into a habit. So basically, your thought pattern, he wants to break it down, and your conscious mind should look into your thought patterns and only give focus to the ones which gives positive result, more prosperity, blessedness, uh, you live joyfully. So those kind of thoughts needs to be encouraged, and the negative ones need to be let go. That is what James Allen talks in this book, As a Man Thinketh.
Wow, that is some great, I think, philosophical suggestions that are given in the book. So basically, to be mindful of your thoughts, to observe each and every thought, and consciously try to
Choose the ones
like
which are good.
focus or choose the ones which are positive, focus more on the positive ones, and not concentrate too much on the negative thoughts, because you cannot stop having negative thought. It's just to be conscious about the thoughts that you have, right? Thank you for your answers, Shanta. So I think through your answers we have got a, brief summary of what this book kind of tries to explain, right? So basically, so what do you think about, or what's your opinion of the philosophies that are given in this book, and how do you relate to the the Indian school of thought, or the Indian philosophers, if you can relate, or if you can say something about that.
Yeah, that's a very actually a good question that you asked regarding this book, which is it's a classic book. Basically, everyone knows As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. It's a classic book, and it has spoken about the importance of cultivating the right kind of thoughts. And this is, as I said, this is very true. I can personally, like, I have lived at almost 30 years of my life, and if I see and see what from my past experiences, I can understand the importance of thoughts. From all my negative deeds to positive deeds, I can kind of understand that everything has a thought behind it. All my actions, result, consequence has a thought behind it, because from the thought, as I said, the desire starts growing, right? All the positive that happened, negative, whatever. So this is a very important thing that James Allen pointed out, the importance of thoughts. But it is little different than the Indian point of view, Indian philosophical point of view, because I have also attended a lot of seminars of spiritual leaders, uh, be it Sadhguru, like all the spiritual leaders who actually talk about these things, and have also practiced yoga. So what I think, it's just my own personal perspective, anybody can differ, that's fine. So here they talk about, the Western philosophers mostly talk about the thought, the power of thoughts, the importance of thought. Then you positive and negative action sprung out of that positive and negative thought, right? But the Indian school of thought, it goes a level deeper than thought itself. They say that your inner climate, inner mood climate, inner climate which is inside you, that needs to be in a peaceful state. If you are, that is in a peaceful, that is in a joyful state, no need of any thought, good thoughts will automatically sprung out of you, and you will do good things. Because when you are in a very joyful mood, good mood, you are just in a very ecstatic mood. Basically, you are very joyful from inside. You do not want to do any harm to others, right? Because you, at that time, you want everybody, let everyone have fun, everyone should have joy. But when you are in a depressed state in of mind, you are not feeling good, at that time all the negative thoughts starts come. So all those negative emotions generate from that state of being. So basically, Indian philosophical point of view, they try to improve your state of being. That's the right word, your state, how you are as a. So basically, you can achieve that through spiritual mechanisms that they have in process, or through yogic process. So you have to follow some path, and yoga has like 4 parts to it. I mean, I don't know in detail, but that's a summary. Basically, you need to be in that state of being, so that good deeds, thoughts, they automatically come out of you, right? But what is my personal view is, in both are actually correct. That is what my personal view is, because Indian philosophy, they want you to be in that state of being. That is what I think, that is not very easy to attain for a beginner. A beginner has access to his thoughts. He can kind of choose which thoughts uh, to hold, which thoughts to let go. He can kind of choose it. But state of being, you need to practice several meditative processes, several spiritual processes, to be in that state of pleasantness where automatically everything comes out good out of you. But to be in that state, first you can easily hold a good thought, and try to practice those meditations, because even to practice those meditations it needs a habit, it needs some discipline, some runway you need to go, otherwise it will not come automatically, that habit will never form, that good habit will never form. So even to be spiritual, to be in a like yogic practice, meditative practice, whatever is working for you, whatever you think will work for you in a spiritual, to even set that backbone correct, to straighten that backbone, you need to have the positive thoughts with you so that you can do those practices. That is what I think. So I think both have equal importance, both the Indian philosophy and the Western philosophy. The Western philosophy is more practical, because on the start, like you can do one thing and you will get results, and the Indian philosophy has a deeper context to it, but even to get there, you need to you need the help of this Western philosophy to get. It's basically a cycle, basically. So yeah, that is what's my take on both the Indian and the Western philosophies.
Awesome, awesome, and that's very aptly summarized. Uh, so basically, as you said, these are two school of thoughts, but basically they are all interconnected. And the Western philosophy of James Allen, basically, it's you're saying it's easier to practice, but still it would take, even though it's easier, it would still take some effort. Like observing a thought is not, does not happen very naturally to people. So even like mindfulness meditation and all that helps in observing the
Hmm.
thoughts. So and if people want to go a level deeper, then they can practice the yogic practices and all the other ones from Indian, or those, or philosophers from those areas. So thank you so much, Sayanta, for summarizing this book. I'm sure this is going to be very helpful to a lot of people. And for people, for the viewers, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. And if you want us to discuss some other book that you have not read and you would like to know, let us know in the comment section, and we will try to cover those books. So thank you again for joining us today, and you guys have a good day. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.